Well, I want to start by saying that whatever differences there are among us, between us now, it's hard to forget. We keep talking about all those who aren't here, but the differences between Barack and I pale in comparison to the differences that we have with Republicans. And I want to say that first and foremost because it's really a stark difference. But we do have differences. And let me mention a couple. First, on health care. I believe absolutely, passionately, that we must have universal health care. It is a moral responsibility and a right for our country. And I have put forth a plan similar to what Senator Edwards had before he left the race that would move us to universal health care. Secondly, I think it's imperative that we approach this mortgage crisis with the seriousness that it is presenting. There are 95,000 homes in foreclosure in California right now. I want a moratorium on foreclosures for 90 days so we can try to work out keeping people in their homes instead of having them lose their homes, and I want to freeze interest rates for 5 years. I think when it comes to how we approach foreign affairs in particular, I believe that we've got to be realistic and optimistic, but we start with realism in the sense that we do have serious threats. We do have those who are unfortunately and tragically plotting against us, posing dangers to us and our friends and our allies. And I think that we've got to have a full diplomatic effort, but I don't think the president should put the prestige of the presidency on the line in the first year to have meetings without preconditions with 5 of the worst dictators in the world. So we have differences both at home and around the world. But again, I would emphasize that what really is important here, because the Republicans were in California debating yesterday, they are more of the same. Neither of us, just by looking at us, you can tell, we are not more of the same. We will change our country.
All right. We heard Senator Clinton, Senator Obama define some of the differences that, on policy issues she sees between the two of you. What do you see as the most significant policy differences between the two of you?
Well, I actually think that a couple of the ones that Hillary mentioned are genuine policy differences that are worthy of debate. Let's take health care. About 95% of our plans are similar. We both set up a government plan that would allow people who otherwise don't have health insurance because of a pre-existing condition like my mother had, or at least what the insurance said was a pre-existing condition, let them get health insurance. We both want to emphasize prevention because we've got to do something about ever-escalating costs, and we don't want children who I meet all the time going to emergency rooms for treatable illnesses like asthma. It is true we've got a policy difference because my view is that the reason people don't have health care, and I meet them all the time, in South Carolina, a mother whose child has cerebral palsy and could not get insurance for it and started crying during a town hall meeting. Hillary, I'm sure, has had the same experiences. What they're struggling with is they can't afford the health care. And so I emphasize reducing costs. My belief is that if we make it affordable, if we provide subsidies to those who can't afford it, they will buy it. Senator Clinton has a different approach. She believes that we have to force people who don't have health insurance to buy it. Otherwise, there will be a lot of people who don't get it. I don't see those folks. And I think that it is important for us to recognize that if, in fact, you're going to mandate the purchase of insurance and it's not affordable, then there's going to have to be some enforcement mechanism that the government uses. And they may charge people who already don't have health care fines or have to take it out of their paychecks. And that, I don't think, is helping those without health insurance. That is a genuine difference. On the mortgage crisis, again, we both believe that this is a critical problem. It's a huge problem in California and all across the country. And we agree that we have to keep people in their homes. I've put forward a $10 billion home foreclosure prevention fund that would help to bridge the lender and the borrower so that people can stay in their homes. I have not signed on to the notion of an interest rate freeze, and the reason is not because we need to protect the banks. The problem is that if we have such a freeze, mortgage interest rates will go up across the board, and you will have a lot of people who are currently trying to get mortgages who will actually have more of a difficult time. So some of the people that we want to protect could end up being hurt by such a plan. Now, keep in mind the one thing I suspect that Senator Clinton and I agree on. Part of the reason we're in this mortgage mess is because there's been complete lack of oversight on the part of the Bush administration. The mortgage lending industry spent $185 billion, $185 million lobbying to prevent provisions that go against predatory lending, for example, that I introduced. Which brings me to another difference. I believe that it is very important for us to reduce the influence of lobbyists in special Washington. I think that a lot of the issues that both Senator Clinton and I care about will not move forward unless we have increased the kinds of ethics proposals that I passed just last year, some of the toughest since Watergate. That's something that John Edwards and I both talked about repeatedly in this campaign. That's why I don't take federal PAC and federal lobbyist money. That is a difference. And the last point I'll make is on Iraq. Senator Clinton brought this up. I was opposed to Iraq from the start. And I say that not just to look backwards, but also to look forwards, because I think what the next president has to show is the kind of judgment that will ensure that we are using our military power wisely. It is true that I want to elevate diplomacy so that it is part of our arsenal to serve the American people's interests and to keep us safe. And I have disagreed with Senator Clinton on, for example, meeting with Iran. I think, and the National Intelligence Estimate, the last report suggested that if we are meeting with them, talking to them, and offering them both carrots and sticks, they are more likely to change their behavior, and we can do so in a way that does not ultimately cost billions of dollars, thousands of lives, and hurt our reputation around the world.